Good morning, real ass women out there. It is 8:30 on Monday morning, running a minute or two late this morning for my live training of the week, which is ironic because this week's training is all about overwhelm, having too much to do, being super, super busy. And there I am running and rushing. It's my baby girl's actual birthday today, and I was focusing on some other things. So here we are. And what we're going to talk about today is what I like to call super mom syndrome. Super mom syndrome. You don't have to be a mom actually to relate to this idea, but the idea of supermom syndrome is that we have all of the people, we take on all of the things, we forget who we are, we forget what our needs are, and then we wake up maybe a year, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe even 20 years later and go, what the fuck happened? I've been busy this whole time. I've had some pretty significant to-do lists that I've checked off. You know, like I've checked a lot of fucking boxes every day. I'm on my list and I'm getting it done. But like, what did I actually do, right? And what did that actually get me? Like I've spent the last year, 10 years, whatever, feeling overwhelmed, feeling busy, taking care of all of these people. And this is where a lot of women come to me when they begin my transformation program, is that they're at this point of like, I have put everybody else first. I have been busy. I have been overwhelmed. I have been stressed out. And it is now reflected in my body, in my energy levels and how I feel, and in my head, you know, and how I feel about myself, because I feel like I let myself down, right? I held all these other people up and I let myself down. And that is supermom syndrome. And we are going to pull that apart today and talk about overwhelm. Talk about how do we actually move past overwhelm. I'm going to give you some concrete techniques that you can write down, practice, and walk away from, and actually get past this a little bit for yourself. Get past that feeling of being so overwhelmed and so busy that where in the world do you fit you into that? And we're talking about this today specifically because for most of us in the country, online school is going to be starting this week or next week if we have kids, right? And so we already probably are overwhelmed with life, whether that be with careers and finances and laundry and chores and managing relationships and friendships, and you know, there's so many pieces to a life, and now most of us are supposed to hold all of those pieces together and make sure that our kids get educated all day long, and we might not even be home to do it, right? That is the situation that most of us are in, myself included. So I have been hearing from all of the women I talk to that there's this new layer of overwhelm on top of all of the regular overwhelm that really is this wall to a lot of you getting in a workout, making the right food, and taking care of your mental state, right? Taking care of who the fuck you are. So we need to break down this overwhelm. We need to understand why it's happening and how we can actually get away from that. Because ladies, at the end of the day, you are in charge of your reality. That's it. And you need to understand how to deconstruct this feeling of stress and busy and overwhelm if you ever want to somehow magically find time for you. Am I right? Like if we don't understand this and break it apart, then you will not consistently work out and eat right. You might do it for a little while, but then the overwhelm kind of like rears its head again and life gets in the way. That's what women tell me when they come into my program, is that I was doing really good and then life got in the way. Okay, so we got to recognize that we need to be able to do good in life, right? Life can't like get in the way. You have to be able to handle stress and overwhelm in life and still eat right and move your body. So overwhelm can be taking on too much, feeling like you don't have enough time for you, putting yourself last, rushing, stressing, anxiety, just that feeling of I have this to-do list and it's never ending. I cross something off and something else goes on the bottom. And it's all the that comes from it, okay? And so I recognize 100% that some of us are in mandatory circumstances of taking on a lot of things, right? You have to work. Your kids have to go to school. maybe you're in school too. There's a lot of have-tos in the world, okay? So I'm not suggesting that we get rid of overwhelm by just don't do those things, okay? But you need to understand right off the bat that some of this thing that you call so much to do that I don't have time for me is optional. You are making a choice. Maybe it's a deep down choice that you don't even recognize right now is a choice. You might be in that mindset of, I don't have a choice. This is my life, and these are all the things I have to get done. But you have to fundamentally get to the understanding that you are in control of your life, and you do have a choice. In fact, you have a choice even if you want to educate your kids or just say, fuck it, I'm going to go do me, right? I mean, that maybe wouldn't be the best parenting strategy, but everything is a choice. You have a choice if you want to go work every day, right? You could choose to be homeless on the side of the road. So we got to get you first in the mode of at least to feel empowered enough to recognize that these are all choices, even if they feel like they're coming from a lot of external pressure. And we're going to talk about that more. So understand that, talking about being busy and feeling overwhelmed, thinking about it, worrying about how all of this stuff is going to get done. None of that gets it done or makes you feel good or empowered to actually get anything done. In fact, the more you talk about it and think about it and worry about the to-do list and the stuff and the, oh my gosh, how is this all going to work? How am I going to do this? How am I going to handle? The more you do that, there's a really good way to spin out and paralyze you. Just paralyze you. And then that's when we create maladaptive behaviors to cope with that feeling. Meaning we drink, or we eat, or we procrastinate. We find something else to do that feels easier than that feeling of oh my gosh, there's so much to do. We yell at our kids. We watch too much TV. We have a lot of maladaptive behavior patterns because we're thinking about and worrying about and talking about, oh my God, I'm so busy. All this shit's going on. I can't handle it. There's so much pressure. And we're not making a conscious choice to handle those feelings. So the unconscious, the subconscious, the habitual pattern, the choice is usually I'm going to eat, I'm going to drink, I'm going to watch Netflix, I'm gonna maladaptive behavior. I'm gonna do things that aren't on track with what I actually say I want in my life, okay? And talking about it and thinking about it and worrying about it creates significant stress hormones inside of your body, which we have talked about on other live trainings. So go back into our Facebook group and search for that live training about stress hormones and how they indeed make you fat, keep you fat, and create a lot of dis-ease in our body, okay? So you gotta understand that's the what of overwhelm, the supermom syndrome. That's what's going on. So let's talk about why. And I think most of you would say, why am I overwhelmed? Well, I have a lot of shit to do. Claire? Duh. Okay? I do too. I'm a single mom. I have 2 kids. I run a business. I work out every day. I do the same laundry and dishes and chores as all of you. I got the same pressures, right? And of course, some of us have way more pressures, and some probably don't have very many. So let's acknowledge that. But for the most part, we need to recognize when we are saying, I'm so busy, there's so much to do, I made a to-do list, I gotta get all this stuff done. We need to think about what are we getting from that feeling? What are we getting from feeling busy? Usually, if we really stop and look at that statement right there, we are feeling, maybe we feel needed. Maybe we feel validated. This is my job and I'm doing it. Look at me. I got all these things done that I'm supposed to do. That happens a lot for stay-at-home moms who don't feel like they're contributing because they're not bringing in money. And so they do, and they do, and they do, and they do. And they're like, oh, look at all this shit I did because yay, now I'm worth it. I pulled my weight, right? So for a lot of people, the taking on of all of these things and taking care of everybody else is about feeling needed and feeling validated. And we need to consider, who would we be? Who would we be without all of this caring for other people or accomplishing of tasks? This is my baby girl, Emmy, and she is 10 today. Mwah. So who would we be without accomplishing all of these tasks? Who would we be if there wasn't the to-do list and the things to check off? Where would that leave us? There's a lot of drama in the feeling of overwhelm. You know, when someone says, how are you? Or if you haven't seen somebody in a long time and there's that little catch up, how have you been? Oh, good. Just so busy. It's like this reply that's so habitual. Let's talk about the busy. Let's pat ourselves on the back for the busy. It's a badge of honor that your calendar is full. I'm so busy. Look at me go. Look at all of these things I accomplished. Look at all the boxes I checked off. Yay, go me. And that's a lot of a cultural thing. It's a lot of a Western culture, Western values of how much can you do? How much can you produce? How many things can you accomplish? Go. And if you're not like that, you feel somehow like I'm not good enough. I'm not doing enough. And especially as a mom, we just feel like we need to hold all of the pieces together for everyone. Okay? So when we look at overwhelm and how to get past overwhelm, we need to look at why it's there. What am I getting from the to-do list and the being really busy? And I know right now some of you are saying like, I'm not getting anything from it. I just have a lot of shit to do. Okay? And I'm going to challenge you, like, even if you feel that way, to just like go past that in your head when you're doing journaling exercises about this and just consider, okay, if there was something I was getting from this, what would it be? I guarantee that part of you is filling up yourself, making yourself feel validated, feel good because of the amount of shit that you are capable of getting done in a day. Even though at the same time, we're like, I don't want to do all this stuff. Why is it here? I hate it. I'm so overwhelmed. I have no time for me. I can't work out. So ladies, I want you to take a very hard look at that as step one of getting past the stress and the overwhelm. What is it doing for you right now? We are very attached to that drama of being busy. Okay, so once we get past that, once we understand kind of what overwhelm is and recognize that we are in control of how much we choose to take on or not take on, we are ultimately the deciders of our own life. As much as you might say everybody else is needing you, you are the decider in your own life. Recognize that. Then recognize, what am I actually getting out of the to-do list, the busy, the saying, I don't have time to work out because blah, 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 blah needs to happen. And it all has to happen first. It all has to happen before you get to do your workout. Okay. And then we need to actually learn to cope with that, right? Because now we just have all this information. We have all this data about ourselves and how we're functioning. And now we need strategy. So let's talk about the tactics, the techniques of how you can actually manage the feelings of overwhelm, maybe even decrease those feelings of overwhelm so you can make time to be happy, be joyful, feel good, have energy, work out, eat right, take care of yourself. I don't want for you what I see from so many other women at the start of my program, where they are just lost because it has been so many years since they have taken care of themselves. And when they like narrate this to me, Johnny had to go to basketball practice and Susie had cheer and there just wasn't time for me. They can hear it too, even in those words, that those were excuses and those were choices of, I'm going to take my kid here and take my other kid here and all my kids come first. And quite honestly, that's a choice, right? That's a choice. No one is holding your feet to the fire and saying that has to be done before you get to do you. You're making that choice. Okay. So how do we cope with the idea of there's not enough time? There's just not enough time in the day, right? Let's consider if you're forced to do something in a day, like you get it done. When there's something absolutely pressing that has to happen. I know you all have had something like that come up in work or kid life or relationship life. When you're forced to do it, you get it done. Okay? So time is there. It is there. It's always there. It's just what you are putting in the forefront of what needs to happen. And a lot of that is your belief system of what should be at the forefront. What should be. There's this whole big should in our life of I should take care of my kids. I should do all the laundry. Whatever your should is, okay? And if you have 1 year to get something done, or you have 1 day to get that same thing done, you're going to get it done. I know you've all seen that happen. And so why are we not able to apply that to exercising? Okay. The idea that we do not have enough time to eat right, by the way, is bullshit. I'm going to call all of you out on that right now. That is the biggest load of crap. Okay. It takes the same amount of time to eat good as to eat bad. There's a lot of you who just don't eat because you say you don't have time. That strategy, like, we just got to draw the line of like, I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to fucking eat. I'm going to stop what I'm doing. Nothing is as important as me having a meal so I can feel good and have energy to get through my day. Okay. So for those of you who are so busy that you're just not eating, you got to get real with yourself, ladies. Like, really, your work or your kid or whatever the fuck you're finding yourself doing is so important that you're not going to nourish yourself and fuel yourself? I got to challenge that with like, what is the point then of being alive, being here, having this experience of life, if you're so busy that you can't even like fuel yourself to feel good? If you are not even feeling good, what is the point of being here? Okay. But for those of you who say, I don't have enough time to cook good food, so I'm going to eat crap because it's quicker. It is not. That is a belief system. That is, it's going to take longer at the beginning of this new habit because I don't maybe know how to cook those things. So maybe I have to move a little slower in cooking brown rice if I've never done it before. Maybe. I mean, to me, it's put water and rice in a pan. But it does not take longer to eat good food. That is a habit shift. That is a mindset shift. That is a slowing down enough to pay attention to what you're doing shift. You do not need any more time in your day to eat good versus eat bad. Okay, I'm glad we got that one out of the way. So the I don't have time excuse really is an excuse for exercising, because that is something we have to add on into our life, right? Because nutrition, you do not have to add on any hours to your life. But exercise, yes, we need to find an hour. Okay, so you're not going to find it, you're going to make it. And that's the tactical strategies that we're going to talk about here. You will not just find it if you're looking around for your extra hour. Where is it? No, you have to be an aware enough person in control of your own life enough to make that hour. So how do you do that? Okay, we need to, first of all, respect time. If you want to find time for things, if you want to have time in your life for the things that make you happy, for the things that fill you up, then we need to respect time. Which means be on time, don't fuck around and waste time, stop saying that you don't have time, right? Just even in those words of I don't have time. You say that enough, how disempowered do you feel in the attempt to find time, okay? I don't have time is disempowering. I'm working on finding time, I'm working on making time is empowering. It means the same thing. But that language is going to stop your body in its tracks from whatever the fuck you want to have happen next. okay? So stop saying I don't have time. Say I'm working on making time. Respect that time, okay? So what I want you to do, strategy 1 here is I want you to analyze. So what you're gonna do is take out a sheet of paper. If you're watching this later, cool. Take out that sheet of paper, pause this, and analyze. What are you doing when you're supposed to be doing other stuff? So what are we doing when like the procrastination rears its head and maybe you could go work out, like there might be a little bit of downtime. What are you doing during your day? And I would actually write out like every activity of a day. Literally, like I woke up, I brushed my teeth, I picked up my phone. If you took a little journal and or did it in the notes on your phone and just spent the entire day analyzing your time, maybe every 10 minutes, you just jot a little note what it is you're doing during that 10 minutes and you go back and look at that, I promise you that there's a lot of wasted time. Okay? We need to analyze that. We need to look at what are the distractions for you. What are the things that you're doing when you could be doing something else? Unless you are the kind of person who truly is like productively executing things from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, then there is downtime. There is wasted time. There is time that you are choosing to do X instead of exercise. Ooh, that was good. X instead of exercise. That time for most of us is there. There are some people who work really long hours, come home, make their food, go to bed, get up, take care of their kids, get them to school, and they don't have any of that extra time. Okay, so that really wouldn't apply to you. But I would still say to take the time to analyze your time spending habits. Just like if we want to get healthy financially, most financial advisors will tell you to take the time to analyze your spending habits. You'll maybe keep a 3-day journal or maybe keep every single receipt or something and look at where the extra frivolous money is going out the door that when you currently say, I don't have any money, but then, maybe you're spending money on snacks you don't need or a coffee or a Netflix movie, whatever it is, right? Analyzing that spending habit. You need to analyze your time spending habits if we want to get them under control and feel less stressed and overwhelmed. Okay? So once you have analyzed that, you need to prioritize. You have to look at everything that you're doing and say, what is actually important? What really needs to happen? And what is wasted time? Or maybe that was something I thought was important, but maybe I can look at that and say, nah, it's really not rewarding me internally that much to do that thing. And it's not gonna like kill anyone if it doesn't get done. No one's gonna die. So maybe I don't need to do that thing. Even though in my daily, really busy life, I keep thinking I need to do that thing. Okay, so you are going to prioritize by looking at what is really important there. Okay, and when you're prioritizing, you got to go like, what needs to happen now? Like what's really pressing, and somebody might die if I don't do it, and what can wait, and get those things on separate lists, right? And even within the like, what is important now? You need to analyze what is the biggest now. What is the one thing that absolutely has to happen? And then the other stuff, we're going to work through the mental aspect of letting go. Because what all of the women inside of my transformation program have found is they understand that my coaching has a tactical aspect, like a tangible here, do X, Y, Z, and a mental aspect. Let's get you right on the inside and feel in a way that is happy and awesome so we can execute the tactical strategies, right? They go together. And I always think that tactical is like is the body part. Tactical is the doing. But then the mindset is the thinking, the stuff behind it. So we're going to talk about both of those, okay? So tactical, we're going to analyze our time spending habits. We are going to prioritize. We are going to take a hard look at whether those things really matter or not. We are going to commit, step 3 here, commit to stopping the saying of, I'm so busy, I have so much to do. Even if you feel that way, I want you to commit, like for one day, to try one day. I promise you, most of you won't even get through a day. And you'll be like, oh man, I can't believe I said it. Can't believe I thought it. Every time you say that, every time you think that, you're going to stop. You're going to take a deep breath. And you're going to challenge that idea. Really? Is there so much to do? Is it really that important if I organize my kids' online schooling area right now or today? Like, they'll probably be able to get by and figure out school without a really cute organized area. Like, I can probably let go of that feeling of importance a little bit inside of me. Or we gotta look at the to-do list and go like, really? I have to get my oil changed, and I have to make a presentation for work, and I have to cook something for my family who's coming over tonight. And okay, I gotta do those 3 things. Does that really feel like that much? Does that can we take a deep breath and just go, is it really that big of a deal? And challenge yourself. You are going to take control of you, of how you think about this, of how you spend your time, okay? So that's step 3. Stop saying it, and every time you do, challenge it. Step 4, just the hard one for me, and probably for a lot of super moms, women with super mom syndrome. Ask for help and delegate. You are not less valuable. You are not less worthy. You are not weak. You are not vulnerable. If you say, this is too much for me, I need help. Husband of mine, kids of mine, friends of mine, family of mine, I need help. I'm taking on too much. I need you to do this, you to do this, you to do this. Ask for help, delegate. And let go of the notion that you are somehow supposed to fucking do everything and hold everything together. It's a silly notion that is perpetuated by our culture, by social media, by seeing and believing that everyone else is holding so much together and everyone else is so capable, and somehow you're not figuring it out, okay? So ask for help and let go of the judgment behind it. And step number 5, that kind of just applies to all the steps, is get off of social media. Yes, I want you in my Facebook group. Yes, I want you to watch these lives and learn from these trainings. But y'all, stop answering the phone or checking your phone or replying to text messages when you are in the middle of other things. Just stop. It is a huge time sucker. Look at how many times a day you pick up your phone. It has that pickup thing on your phone. But for most of us, it's astonishing. And it's a waste of time. Okay? Stop wasting time. Stop doing shit that's not actually important. Analyze those distractions. Okay? So that's the tactical part of how am I going to find time to work out, take care of myself? How am I going to find time? But even if you have all of these tactical strategies, if you don't get yourself right in here, you're not going to feel good enough. You're not going to feel worthy. You're not going to feel deserving. You're not going to feel okay about taking that time for yourself, right? About just saying, that thing's not important. I'm going to go do me. Because there's this little voice that's like, I'm not that important. All of this stuff is more important than me. Okay? And that's a lot of what supermom syndrome is we get so much validation and worth out of the doing of the things that we're fucking not able to validate and give our self-worth and let the doing of the things go. So that's the real job, is giving your self-worth and validating yourself regardless of how much shit you get done, regardless of how clean your house is or how clean your kids are, how many fucking weekends you've planned with activities for your family. None of that matters if you are not happy, if you are not healthy, if you're dragging all day long and you have no energy. if you don't love yourself and you don't have confidence. Okay? The fucking shit on your calendar doesn't matter. Okay? So the mental side of it is you need to write down, how is it that I want to feel in my life? And you need to let the pen go to paper, journaling, do this later, and just flow with it. Get yourself in a quiet space for 5 fucking minutes where you can just narrate, how is it that I want to feel in my life? Peaceful, calm, happy, capable, confident, energetic, joyful, whatever those things are for you. Those are kind of mine. I always gravitate to peaceful because I spent a lot of years in this fucking supermom syndrome of overwhelm, and it's not peaceful. It's like, go, 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 go. And it's the worst feeling. And so for me, I came to the realization that, like 80% of what I was doing didn't fucking matter because I felt like shit. I didn't have any energy. I didn't even want to work out anymore. And I was just caring for everyone else, and I somehow totally forgot about me. So how do you want to feel? How do you want to feel? Write it down. Then underneath that, you're going to write, I deserve to feel blank. Fill in that blank of how you want to feel. For me, I deserve to feel peaceful. I deserve to feel calm. I deserve to feel energetic. Okay? So you're going to write all of that down. You're going to revisit those ideas. So that's first tactic. And second tactic, in the moment, when you're feeling the overwhelm and the busy and the stress, is to control your breathing. Okay? Most of us are walking around in a very shallow state of breathing all of the time. And especially when we start to flood our system with cortisol and other stress hormones, and we start to feel the busy and the overwhelm, we get even more shallow in our breathing. And of course, we're still breathing, but we're breathing from up here. So we're not fully oxygenating our brain or our bloodstream. And less oxygen constricts that blood flow even more and makes us feel even more out of whack. Okay? And that's actually one of the reasons why smoking is so hard to kick. Of course, nicotine is very addictive, but what is the other thing that a smoker is doing? They're doing 2 other things. One, they're taking a break, right? They stop doing everything and they go have their cigarette. 2, what are they doing, ladies? They're breathing. They're breathing in and they're breathing out. I smoked actually in college for several years. But those 2 strategies are very adaptive to stopping the feeling of overwhelm and stress. And that's why it becomes so addictive, in addition to the nicotine. Is we're like, I'm done, I need a break, I'm going outside for the cigarette, and I'm going to take deep breaths. So I want you to do those 2 things. After you've done the exercise of how do I want to feel, gotten very connected to that, written down, I deserve to feel, fill in the blank. Keep that shit with you. Put it on Post-it notes. Put it on your fridge. Remind yourself of that. And then every time you feel those things coming up, work on stopping as a smoker would. Maybe you got to go outside. Maybe you got to sit down in a chair for a minute. Maybe if you're in your car, you close your eyes, you park in a parking spot, and you breathe. In for 4. Out for 4. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. You can shift your entire biological state. You can slow down your brainwaves that are speeding in frenzy of beta brainwaves when we're going and going and going all day long. You can stop the chemical concoction of stress hormones dripping through your body. You can oxygenate your blood, and you can invite in happy hormones, dopamine, serotonin, and such, by breathing, by controlling your breath. Okay? So you can find that time. Okay, so we have our tactical strategies of analyzing what you're doing all of the time, looking for where the distractions are, prioritizing what really matters to you. Stop saying that you're busy, and every time you say it, challenge it. Ask for help and delegate. And then we have our mental strategies of deciding how it is that you really want to feel, writing it down everywhere, saying that you deserve it, and then monitoring the breath. and taking that little baby step back for a minute or two when we're in that momentum of going and stress. Okay? And honestly, one of the most effective strategies to making time to work out is to just put it on your calendar as a non-negotiable, right? But you won't succeed feeling like your workout is non-negotiable unless you take control of this to get yourself in a place where you feel like you are a non-negotiable. Your needs, the way you want to feel, is a non-negotiable. And that comes from taking control of the mental strategies. So that's what we do inside of my 4-month Find Yourself Fit transformation program. We handle the tactical. How do I eat right? How do I exercise properly? That's the thing, like putting your workout on a calendar. That's a tactical strategy to get you where you want to be. And we go through all of that within the 4 months that I'm coaching you in the program. But even more so, we go through the mental state of how do we get you in a place where you feel deserving enough, where you feel like you are going to take the reins and make yourself a priority come hell or high water because you love yourself, because you matter that much. And there are many mental strategies. We went over a couple of them today to get you into that space, but there are dozens and dozens and dozens of ways that you can get control of this so you can get control of this, because they are connected. We need to stop acting like one is not connected to the other when we are trying to change one. I hope that makes sense to you all. If you want to learn more about the program, see if what I do is a fit for you and for your goals, then you can book a call with me or someone on my team. The link to book a call is in the copy of this live video. And we'll talk through your goals. We'll talk through your history, figure out what it is you're struggling with, and decide together if what I do is your way to a happier, healthier, sexier, more energetic you. Okay, so happy Monday. I hope y'all have a beautiful week. I will be on here next week at 8:30 for another live training session. Mwah. Bye, ladies.